Jerusalem was the city of David, where Jesus was crucified and where Mohammed ascended to heaven, a holy city for the three great monotheistic religions. The Byzantines lost the city in the 7th century to Arab conquerors. Pilgrims were being cut off. In 1095, Pope Urban II proclaimed the first expedition at the Council of Clermont at the request for aid by the Byzantine emperor. The Pope received an enthusiastic response from across Europe. Aristocrats and knights presumably wanted military glory, sanctioned for religious purposes for a good measure. Lower classes must have had multiple reasons for tagging along, including glory for potential for wealth and power, while adventure didn't hurt. The brutality and misery were not stressed, nor were ulterior motives. There were 7 or so crusades. The first one was considered a success, lasting roughly 1096 to 99. The last was from 1248 to 54. As in all wars, the primary result were mainly death and destructions. Legends developed usually around various kings. There was Richard the Lionheart of England, his enemy the Kurd Saladin, and the French king Louis IX becoming Saint Louis. Like a number of warrior kings, Louis died of dysentery on the 8th Crusade. Louis's other accomplishments included expanding the scope of the Inquisition. On the positive side were building Sainte-Chapelle, the Holy Chapel, in Paris and founding hospitals. In addition to the massive body count was the sack of Constantinople during the Fourth Crusade, started in 1198 under the thuggish leadership of Venice, followed by 3 days of pillaging. The Byzantine Empire did not recover, and Constantinople fell to the Ottomans in 1453, becoming Istanbul. After the Seventh Crusade, fighting continued into the 14th and 15th century. If a victor had to be named, it would have to be the Muslims who, long term, retained the Holy Land. Kings and knights could attract huge retinues to join them to the Holy Land. Granted, they probably had little idea where they were going or what difficulties awaited them, but crusaders and hangers-on went on their merry way. They apparently began with standard European food, starting with meat, including beef, sheep, pork, chicken, fish, game like deer, and possibly camels, dogs, and cats, presumably in desperation. They preferred drinking wine. Lower classes ate bread, probably pottage with grains and some meat and vegetables, and drank beer, and probably lots of water in the desert. Crusaders probably imported as much food as possible from Europe, but eventually switched and focused on food in the Middle East once they were squatting and pillaging the Holy Land. Cauldrons of soup and stews were common, with the retinue and hangers-on probably doing the cooking. King Richard the Lionheart still ate mostly meat and seafood spiced with condiments along with wine. Knights and their retinue probably ate some meat and wine, but their diet included the more mundane Middle Eastern pottage and bread plus beer. Muslims ate the common food of the Middle East, which included cereals, particularly wheat and barley, olives and olive oil, legumes, and other vegetables and fruit, including figs, plus nuts. Meat included beef, sheep, chicken, fish, and game. Curtis Sultan Saladin, opposing Richard the Lionheart, ate makluba, a dish of meat, rice, and fried vegetables, plus fresh fruit, boiled rice, and sherbet. Muslims were forbidden from eating pork. There were written records of the Crusades, including chronicles, letters, and accounts from both sides. Albert of Aachen and William of Tyre wrote detailed chronicles of the Crusades. Later historians gathered collections of historical accounts. Additional information was based on archaeological digs with remnants of cereal crops of wheat and barley, legumes like lentils, chickpeas, and peas, plus walnuts and pine nuts. Figs and olives plus olive oil were common. There were multiple crusades, and nobles and knights probably were coming and going on an irregular schedule. Plenty died in battle or disease, with a few starving to death and others captured along the way, usually for ransom. Our interest is what they brought back, especially food, or at least a demand for merchants to bring back products like sugar. God's work did not preclude a sweet tooth. The feudal system called for lots of knights and kings seeking military glory while lusting for more power and wealth. That meant battles like the Hundred Years' Wars, and next time on Food History and Mystery.